been
a month
hot
almost.
minute.
Yeah.
It's been nice. I was all gung-ho yesterday, and then tonight I'm tired.
You'll get it. I love it. And Yam's coming on, and he's awesome, so
He's
makes
like,
it easier.
What's going on? How are you?
Hey.
Yam's good people. He's like a hobby celebrity. Pool hitters, Drew, what's good? What's good? How are you? A little bit earlier.
Well, we got Too Thick Pod on.
Too Thick Pod,
Nice.
Good evening.
Celebrities.
Good people over there at the Too Thick Pod.
If you're not following Too Thick Pod, definitely follow Too Thick Pod. DJ, hey, what's up?
DJ Harambe. Spring Sports Cards.
Hello.
Wee.
Some OGs.
What up, what up?
Hey, Breeze
Should
guy.
we be hitting that wave button?
Sure, I can wave at people. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, there's my guy shooting 90% from the line. What's good, kid?
Revolution Rush.
Revolution Rush. He shooting 90% from the lines, betting on women's 3rd division hockey at 2 a.m.,
I know.
buying into breaks, just living his best life. Clean cut, too, him and his brother.
Math.
Yep. Don't get it twisted over here.
So it has been a while. Well, it actually hasn't been as long as it feels like it's been, but it's been about a month since we did a hobby night school. And we are back. We have Yamwax on tonight. We are going to be talking about cards other than sports cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty excited about this. This is like a space that I'm not super familiar with. You know, I have a few things that I collect, but usually it's just stuff that it's like things I'm specifically interested in. I've actually been looking into Stranger Things cards, and I know that you can buy and collect Stranger Things bicycles now. They make one. It's so crazy. So
I have no idea what the hell
I
Courtney's
was
talking
learning
about.
about that. So I'm excited to have Yamwax on tonight to sort of discuss like a different part of the hobby that I personally am not over familiar with. If you haven't ever joined us for a hobby night school and this is your first time, welcome. So basically what we do is...
It's a safe space where you can be educated and not get persecuted, made fun of, and you can feel good about yourself.
I mean, unless you've been here a long time, and then Jeremy will definitely make fun of you. Sorry, like
no,
Springs and
only
Bedford.
like spring sports cards. Otherwise, and that's just
Natty.
because he buys $7,000 boxes of soccer cards. You know?
Vintage tobacco cards. I'm not sure. We're going to talk about all sorts of different stuff. So, yeah, Jackass cards. We're going to talk about all sorts of different things.
Hey, Kobe.
Hey, Kobe cards. Yeah. So, basically, what Hobby Night School is sometimes it's hard to find things that are just here, like for us to talk about in this space that aren't, the triple Logomans and the 86 Fleer. That's not in everyone's like spit. That's not where everyone's at. So we want to have a spot where you can, ask questions about specific topics that maybe it's harder to Google, things that, you just are wondering about. And, if you guys ever have any ideas or topics that you want to talk about, feel free to slide in the DMs. Let me know. We're always looking for fun things to discuss on these evenings. Oh, we'll see you later, Maddie. Have fun.
I think Yam, if you want to just...
Yeah, whenever you're ready to join, just hit no requests. I saw him jump on, so I know
he's here.
Hey,
Courtney has a wonderful introduction that she's been working on all day. I think you're going to like it.
What? Okay.
For Mr. Wax.
All right. With no further ado, we are going to add him. What's up?
Hey guys, what's up?
Hello. Mr. Wax, how are you, sir?
Mr. Wax. I'm pretty good, guys. Good to see you. This is a little bit different than the National where we're surrounded by tons of people, but it's so good to meet you guys there. No kids today, huh? It's just the two of you.
They're all in bed.
They're in bed, so let's, fingers crossed, we might get a few minutes of peace and quiet, but if the kids aren't being loud, I promise you the dogs will do their best to jump in and be crazy.
They like to tag in, so.
Awesome. Yeah, my kids are upstairs, so if we hear pitter-patter, I'm trying to hide out in the basement right now, and I've got my kind of Jordan man cave behind me. Despite being a non-sport guy, evidently, I also like sports cards too.
No,
so
yeah.
I'm really into basketball.
No, and I know that you've got some incredible Walter Payton cards that I'm sure that at some point we'll touch on. But to us, on a personal level, you're to us, you're like hobby celebrity.
Yes.
You've always had this like a unique following because it's, to me, you operate to the beat of your own drum. Whatever fascinates you or grabs your attention, you go with it, which I think is incredibly awesome because in this hobby, there's different ways to be a participant, and we've always admired it. And I will tell you, one of our fondest hobby memories to date was around Christmas time. You put together this incredibly awesome animated video, and for just a fleeting moment, there was our name on it. And at that point, we thought we had made it. I don't know what we made, but we probably rewatched that video a million times. And we were just like, this is so awesome because we admire people who just are themselves. And so you're always like 5 steps ahead of what everybody else is doing. And I think it's incredibly awesome. And if I'm being brutally honest, growing up, like I liked wrestling, but I never considered wrestling cards as something part of the hobby. It was typically the four main sports, really. And over the last couple of years, you've shown, and other people have shown, that there's so many different cards that can be a part of the hobby. And so I'm actually kind of excited. I think that tonight's going to be a lot of me just shutting up, which is great for everybody, and then just listening and learning about what's going on.
He's going to shut up soon.
All right, I'm done. Thank you, Mr. Wax.
Just call me Yam, please.
Oh, and on a side note, congratulations on the new job. It's awesome. Happy for you and your family.
Thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, it's been great. It's great to be back on with you guys because my hobby time's been really limited. I've still made a couple of fun pickups, but really focused on this new tech job with Alta Technologies, and it's going well. But no, I really got into. I know you guys wanted to talk about some of the non-sport stuff, and that's the unique angle I have. I think so. I did try to, arrange some fun cards tonight, and but mostly, it's great to be on with you guys. You guys are the celebrities, man. You're blowing up all over, and yeah, I love this show concept, and I love that you're a family that collects together. It's so fun to watch. I've loved that since the first time I came across your feed. So I hear Courtney has an intro. I'm curious to hear what that might involve.
He's just trying to embarrass me. No, so Yam was for me when. We've collected since we were kids, but being on social media and stuff isn't like that's relatively new. We've been, I think, doing it for maybe a couple of years now.
Sure.
And Yam was like literally one of the very first people we followed when we started following card stuff. And you were so cool. And when you followed us back, I was like Jeremy wasn't joking when he said about the video. I was like, we were super excited. We're like, oh my God, he like knows who we are. So it was cool. Like I was a little like. It was my first time being like hobby starstruck, and I think it's cool because when you're a kid collecting, you don't, like the people in the hobby, you don't care about them and what's going on. And I think it's sort of cool that sort of shifted now, and the people who collect are sometimes just as much fun and interesting to talk to as what they're collecting. And you are definitely one of those people.
So, thanks, guys.
It's almost
this hobby is supposed to be fun, and it's all about the people for me, and to me it's for fun. It really is truly a hobby. I'm trying to explore and I scratch the itches that I love, finding neat things, but the best part is when you get to share it with somebody and say, hey, look what I found. I think you'd like this one.
Yeah, I mean, so 2 things. One, to us, cards have almost become like the vehicle to cultivating like these incredible relationships where now we're hanging out with people, enjoying our time together outside of cards. And so I'm grateful to the hobby for bringing us together. Second, the second time we were starstruck was when you came up and approached us at National, and you had this incredible 360 camera. Maybe it was Alta Technologies or whatever. It was awesome. It was the talk of the National, these incredible Yam Wax photos. But you brought to us 2 Breaking Bad cards of Crazy 8. The character Crazy 8 is played by a close friend of mine, Max Arcienega. And so when I reached out to Max and I said, hey, bro, do you know you have a trading card? And he had absolutely no idea. So we've got 2 of them. We've got them both autographed. One, next time we see you, we're going to present to you as just like a token of our appreciation because, as his career continues to take off, I think it'll be an awesome thing. But it was it was just so cool. Like that was just another way that sports cards like brought relationships and friendships together. And I mean, that's a close friend of mine. I felt like a bad friend that I didn't even know my man had like a trading card.
Well, I mean, in fairness, he didn't know, so you.
That's so cool, man. I love it. And I hope that Max's career just like blows up and we see him, you know, accepting an Oscar for best actor someday.
Sure.
You know, that'd be amazing. Like, and just keeps getting roles. But some shows and some roles are just iconic. He's Crazy 8. He's Crazy 8 forever. Yes. Like, I hope there's more to that, but that alone cements him in my mind as like
Better Call Saul.
Collectible.
So she said you can watch Better Call Saul.
He's on that. So,
like, yeah, this is Saul from that same set.
Yes.
Yeah, 2015.
And
I love the little sayings. I don't know what Crazy 8 said. I can't remember, but this one says, some people are immune to good advice.
That's incredible.
That is true, too.
That makes for a good card right there.
Yeah, how do you go from your traditional sports cards to even, like, because at my LCS growing up, there wasn't cards outside of sports. You might see the occasional Garbage Pail Kid, but
even, was like the old one. But like,
even like Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh weren't something that were stocked when I was a kid.
Well, I mean, really, that was like 93 when that stuff came out, and Pokemon was like 96, right? So
yeah, 96 in Japan, but really like 99 here.
So I was in.
So I wasn't here for it. I remember my oldest started to get into Pokemon in the early 2000s, but I didn't know anything about it back then, other than it was the craze. But I'm with you guys. I grew up in the 80s. I went to my little local, convenience store, Snyder's Drug, down the street, and they sold, baseball cards. They sold nothing but baseball packs, and that's all I had. And so part of me wonders if like my interest in exploring beyond, the basketball cards, I started collecting the Pokemon that I was collecting with my son that kind of brought me back into the hobby, was that I just didn't have anything but baseball as a kid. And don't get me wrong, I loved it. I wanted to get, this is a custom-made card that a buddy of mine made for me. Thanks, Travis. Because he knows I love Kirby, and my whole thing as a kid was trying to get as many Kirbys in my sheets as I could. A couple rookies, but it didn't matter. I didn't care about values at all. I just wanted to get all the Twins players. I'm in Minnesota, and all the Kirby Puckets because, I'd wait for him after games, and he was always really cool with kids, and it was just sweet. So, I didn't have it either, but now I'm exploring beyond that.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So you started collecting baseball, Twins, because you're a Twins fan, and then you got into alternative types of cards because of your son, which is super cool.
Yeah, I really got back into the hobby, 2017, 2018. My son was starting to play Pokemon just at school with kids. It was getting really popular again. Kids are playing it after school, and he wanted better cards than his buddies had. He wanted to be able to compete in these battles. So he's like, let's go to the card shop. And these card stores around here, a lot of them are like half Pokemon and Magic, and then the other half is sports cards or some balance of the two. And I was like, basketball cards. I never got a shot. I was done collecting, went to middle school by 1990. So I kind of missed this huge wave of basketball cards in the 90s. And so I loved, just picking up the dumbest, cheapest, nicked up. I didn't know anything about the hobby. I'm buying beat up like Scottie Pippens and Jordans and Rodmans and stuff in the dollar box, but it didn't matter. I was just in nirvana. And so I dove in and learned all about basketball cards, but I just, I did some collecting there, and I really went back to the greats. I went to, I kind of made my list of Hall of Fame basketball and football players, and a couple baseball players like Babe Ruth and stuff where I wanted to get great cards there. So I really went back and got some vintage. That worked out pretty well because I was able to get a lot of cards before they really went up in price. So I started a pretty good vintage collection.
That's awesome. So what do you think it was? You said yourself, you were buying all these vintage, athletes that we all recognize their names. When did you start getting heavily into things outside of Pokemon? What was the draw for you with that?
So this wasn't the first card that I picked up, but it's kind of indicative of why I think I went to the other cards. And this is a 1926 Lacoste card. Now, Lacoste was, he was a world-class tennis player. He won Wimbledon. This is his rookie card, his Wimbledon winning year. And, he's not famous for being a tennis player, though. He's famous for the little alligator on your shirt, the Lacoste shirts, right? Mm-hmm. But no one knows Rene Lacoste, the tennis player. And I just think this is sweet because, what are cards to us? I mean, a lot of what are athletes that I love? I love Rodman. I love the style of play, and he was gritty and everything, but I also love that he's a big personality. I love the NBA draft because there's so much drama and culture. And so I'm drawn to that aspect of it. And I think it was a no-brainer for me to explore, beyond that. So the first thing I remember, Buster posted a Roger Federer card. and Buster Schur. And I was like, Fed is the man. I want to get one of those. And so I started picking up some tennis cards, and they were all just a few bucks a piece back then. So why not grab a Fed, a Serena, a couple different options, some sealed boxes, and opened some live and just had a blast with it. And so then I didn't know all this was going to go crazy, but that kind of opened my brain. And I think part of it is like, since I was already collecting Pokemon because of my son, and we were looking into the vintage Pokemon stuff. It just kind of opens your brain that there's more than sports, like there are culture cards. And if you can collect like a big chunky fat Pikachu, why can't you go and collect some of these alt sport things, an Usain Bolt rookie or tennis cards and so on. So I had a lot of fun with that stuff. And then next comes wrestling. And then I'm looking like, I'm a business guy, I'm in tech. I'd love to have, like a Bill Gates card and a Steve Jobs and all those kinds of things. So then I got into the celebrity, the billionaires, the non-sport personalities. And man, it's so fun because I'm just like, these cards cost nothing at the time. Some are going up, but not really. I mean, I still am chasing the stuff that isn't crazy yet and rounding out people that I just like.
That's so cool. So what do you think non like main sports is the most collectible, like alternative to like the main like four that everybody talks about the most? What do you think is the most, like outside of like maybe even Pokemon, something else?
Yeah. The most collectible, if we're not talking like the celebrity cards, which I think are great because you can go after the people you love. But I'd say it's pretty obvious what it is right now. That F1, if you're like, what's really blowing up right now? Of course it's F1. My son was really, he's in F1 because, well, he's an engineer. And so he loves the car engineering stuff. And he was trying to convince me to buy a Hamilton. And I just missed a Hamilton that recently sold for 6 figures. And it still kills me. But I did buy a few cards that he recommended. But I don't know anything about that. That was mostly just to appease him. But I'm going to give those to him. But yeah, I like tennis. Wrestling, though, I consider wrestling a sport. It's like on the edge of sports entertainment. I kind of go the sport way because of just everything that they execute out there. It's a performance sport in my mind, but it's, it also
like
has that entertainment value.
Something where it's like choreographed, but it's still very athletic.
Yeah, I guess so. And so I love that because you've got great cards. If you love collecting certain types of cards, chromes, prisms, all those are in play now. But I love finding the weird kind of crazy stuff. You've got so many just like random releases out there. I don't have it with me, but at the National, I graded a couple of the 1973 Andre the Giants, where you cut them out of a magazine, and they're just beautiful. They're not beautiful. They're ugly beautiful, in that they're like just black and white, and they look like a magazine. And Andre is standing in his picture. He's got an outlet behind him. So some of that stuff is just cool to me. But then now you've got people collecting things like the Chrome cards, and of course Prisms right now. But everybody's kind of going after these 2015 Chromes. And I love Cena as a guy to collect because he's that crossover between kind of the sports of wrestling, but also blowing up huge in movies now. But so that's the 2015 Chrome. But I think people don't realize there's actually 2006 Chrome cards. It's the Heritage version of Chrome. And so that's a 2006 Cena refractor. And I love this one especially. I think this is kind of a crazy card that it's the Jlo Rookie. That's what 2002 from Royal Rumble. These aren't the fanciest or whatever, but there's just like, that's kind of shows there's like something for everyone. The crazy rare 1973 cutouts to, these common brands. And of course Prism right now is going crazy, and I had fun opening that with my son, even though, it was a tough break. We didn't hit much.
Yeah. Well, we had a blast with you and John doing the WWE Panini stickers.
The Rock.
Yeah, and we were fortunate enough to pull like 2 or 3 Rock stickers in one pack.
That was so cool.
Yeah, I feel like the couple of times I've been on these podcasts, I've mentioned the Rock enough. I was going to go with Cena this time. But yeah, I love that. That was really fun where we got everybody involved. And I was happy to donate that for the charity. I'd bought 10 of those boxes and ripped them, and I got no 10s. They're really tough to grade, those old Panini stickers. I think my best grade was like a 9, and I got a bunch of, you get back a bunch of 4s and 5s, and that makes the reality of it being like, this is, even though some of these cards are plentiful, getting the higher grades, if that's your thing, that's a tough chase.
So you mentioned that, in your real life, in your day job, you're big into tech. You like chasing celebrities and like pop culture figures. Did you have any idea that Elon Musk was going to go on to be like the richest man in the world, potentially buy Twitter, be the talk of the town on a daily basis when you did the project that you did?
Maybe a supervillain.
Oh, You guys are frozen. Oh, there we go. I thought he'd be huge. No, I kind of thought he'd be huge like 8, 9 years ago. To be honest, I wrote a blog post. I'm sure you can find it when I was at another company about how I thought, he was like the modern day Iron Man, in terms of like just his engineering prowess. And I love that he always just bets on himself. He almost went broke so many times, starting Tesla and SpaceX, and just bets all of his money again and again. Now, I don't love, that's the thing about some of these personalities. You don't love every aspect of them. I think Elon's a really complicated figure. But man, his engineering capabilities, when, the billionaire owner of a company is repeatedly said to be the best engineer by his best engineers, that just really impresses me. So it's funny for me, when it came to sports, I collected nostalgia and all-time greats. When it comes to non-sport, I really love what's relevant to me. So I'm collecting true pop culture. It's for fun. I'm collecting things from the last usually 20, 30 years, but people I've lived with their stuff. Some people collect the old tobacco cards, but that's not really my jam. But when I think of Elon, you can think of it in a different way. Like, who are the people that are really going to matter in 1,000 years? And I'm not saying Elon will. To me, the one name that's for sure in that and makes me think I only have one Neil Armstrong card, and that's of course Neil. The first person to step on another rock outside of our planet, like that is a name in 1,000 years that matters. Does that matter to collecting? I don't know. I just think it's kind of cool.
Matters to humanity.
But Elon, depending on what he does, this guy, he might be somebody whose name is known for better or worse in 1,000 years if we're still around.
Yeah, it's so crazy to think of like everything that that they make Elon Musk cards, or that they make Neil Armstrong cards, or that they make Betty White cards, or they make Jay-Z rookie cards. Like it's so wild to me. And
I bought a bunch of Christie Brinkley rookie cards. One, because she's incredibly beautiful, and then two, I'm like, man, if she ever gets like famous,
you mean famous again. She's very famous.
Cardboard relevant is
You like to look at them. The Christie Brinkley, there's some cards like that are interesting, where it does get into the debate around what's a rookie card in non-sport, because I think there's some Topps Chromes from the 2000s of Christie Brinkley, but then she also has some weird ones from the 90s and 80s even, I believe. So it's like, where does the rookie thing fall? But you're right, like when it comes to like just these names, like who do you like? I saw Tyler from 137 Media had posted in Card Talk that who do you revere? Who's the one personality, athlete, musician, movie star that you revere? And I'm like, I'm having so much trouble thinking of even like limiting it down to like 6 or 7 people. And honestly, none of outside of, I was kind of thinking Jordan, but Jordan as a businessman, it hasn't been that impressive, and at least on Nike's side, but on running a team. And so like that's kind of soured me a little bit on that total overall legacy. But what names I was thinking, of course, are like Elon. But I love from that same set people like Warren Buffett. Warren B to me is someone I think of all the time and constantly am quoting and thinking of as I'm making big decisions. God, a guy I love is Tarantino, Quentin Tarantino. All of his movies are just
loves Quentin Tarantino.
Incredible. The new guy, and just the process of thinking through people that I just love in culture. Another guy, Taika Waititi, who's a great director. He's directing the upcoming Thor movie and the last Thor movie. I love everything he does, and I'd love to get a card of his.
I'm literally sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, well now I want a Leonardo DiCaprio card, I want a Matthew McConaughey card. Like I'm gonna be like on eBay, like scouring the internet trying to find these people because we have this conversation. And I think that this is part of the fun of collecting, is that like if anyone is following us, they know that like we did like a live break of wrestling cards, and during the break we pulled a Dewdrop card, and we like had like, she's awesome. I thought she was super cool. The card was dope. Like I didn't know who she was at that moment, and it sort of just spiraled into, now we have collected almost the whole rainbow of the Prism cards of hers. Wow. And all because of one like silly night ripping wax with a bunch of people live having fun. And I think it's just little things like that are what makes this hobby, in my opinion, so special.
That's awesome. You mentioned like going out to eBay to look for those cards that you love, and so that's one of those things. Be careful what you read on eBay, especially around non-sport, because there's a lot of people, and even those who chase non-sport, we think we found the first card. If first matters to you, I love first. I don't know, some people dismiss it. What's your first girlfriend, your first every time you're in a fight, the first time you got in trouble at school, whatever it is, you remember those things. Mm-hmm. And so firsts are a big deal to me. And so I try to chase the first card I can find. I don't consider parody cards a first. So like, Garbage Pail Kids, Bruno Mars. I picked this up because my dad loves Bruno Mars, actually. And, I'm like, I don't really feel good about that. And I'm like, you know what? Parody cards are not rookie cards in my mind. But you'll see things like where this card often gets listed as a Tarantino rookie card. It's from 2008. Or this card, which is another version from that same Donruss set from 2008. But people don't know that he had this 2007 refractor that's limited to 500 from Donruss as well. And they only pop up every so often, so if you're just looking at eBay at the moment and you see these people listing these things as rookies, you have to kind of like look at like the trading card database, TCDB, and see what they have listed as first cards. Go to PSA and try to find out what PSA doesn't always, they maybe haven't graded the earliest cards yet, or sometimes they've graded a few, but they haven't, the pop report doesn't show up in search yet. So be really careful when you're looking for rookie cards to do your research before you just hit buy it now on a $200 or whatever, whatever Leonardo DiCaprio card or something, to find out there's one from like 5 years earlier and this guy's a doofus calling, his 2019 card Leo's rookie.
I would imagine, and I think that's incredible because I know that's something that we're going to, I'm getting like the nudge underneath the table as we're talking through, which I mean, like eBay's going to get a lot of business tonight. Is that space relatively inexpensive compared to what's going on with sports cards right now? For just because to me it seems like it would be fun to go look for some of these people, and especially if you're not chasing like a refractor or something low numbered, but to go and find like a cool Warren Buffett card, you could probably do that, relatively cheap, I would imagine.
Yeah, probably for like $15-20, mostly, sometimes $2-3. And that was the case, say like with you want to buy a big Jay-Z card, you're a huge Jay-Z person, that's going to be possibly thousands of dollars or more. But like, there's probably other people that you like. Like, I was like, is there a Childish Gambino card, right? And this is his first card as Lando. And there's a whole bunch of cards from this year. I think it's 2017, the year that Solo came out. But I love this one because it's a refractor, and two, it's got the Denny's logo on there. It was only handed out at Denny's restaurant, so that's pretty dope. But there's alternatives. You don't have to like buy the hot thing right now. There's things that are popping and getting hot, and you don't have to buy that big one. Go buy the card that you like. Buy somebody else. There's so many people, these Snoop Dogs are plentiful. You guys saw this one at the National.
You gave some to
and there's, yeah. Hey, and isn't that the thing? Like, do non-sport cards have value? I don't know. I think they're cool. I know they have value to people when I hand them to them. They're like, Snoop, this is so cool. And, I followed up with Jeremy Lee after the National, and I kind of like joked, like, yeah, I gave you that Adele card or whatever. He's like, no, I actually think it's really cool. I'm like, see, it's pretty neat how people light up when they get to see that they can have a trading card of other people they like, not just their sports heroes.
We watched the Super Bowl, and he was on the Super Bowl, and my son's like, oh, I have that card. I have that guy's card. Like, yes.
And I couldn't connect the dots. I'm like, how the hell do you have a Snoop Dogg card? He's like, get waxed. He's like, Dad, you were too busy with the Crazy 8 card. I'm like, oh, you got a Snoop Dogg card.
Yeah, it's in his room. He has it. He's super excited.
Yeah, those Snoop Dogg cards. One thing that's kind of funny with that is they come out of this 95 Panini Smash Hits, and they're stickers, and these are really old, so I opened a bunch of these. I don't know if you can see that, but they get stuck to the front if they're the very front card. And so they peel off, and you can see it on the back of the packaging.
That is so
which
cool.
means bad news for PSA. So you want to get the Snoops in the middle of these packs. When you pull one, it's on the front. You're like, oh man, that one's gonna be like a 2, but it's still cool.
It's a cool card, and he probably won't ever get it graded. It's a fun story from when he went to the National. He got this cool card. He loves it. It's cool, and that's sort of what it is. For those kind of cards, for me, a lot of it is just like the nostalgia, the connections that you make. I love NSYNC. I've loved NSYNC since I was a kid. And when I was a kid, I didn't know that there were NSYNC cards, but there are. And I bought 4 Lance Bass rookie refractors for like $15 on eBay. And I made a TikTok, and I'm still praying that Mr. Bass sees this and reacts to it on TikTok, because that would make my life.
we gotta start a campaign for that one.
Yeah,
I'll tag him.
Tag Lance on my TikTok about buying his cards, because it would make my life.
You're gonna be live with Lance.
Yeah, Well, we had a big mail day coming, and Courtney called me and she's like, "Are you almost home? Are you almost home?" And so like she made a video, and I'm like, "Okay, I think it was like maybe some like Patrick Williams like NTRPA or something like that." And I'm so excited. I opened the package and I'm like, "What the hell is this? This is not at all what I was expecting."
Lance Bass.
And then I went and looked at like bought history on eBay. I'm like, "Uh-oh, there's a lot of packages coming."
Yes, I bought a lot of weird cards recently. And that was before we even talked about this. I was just all of a sudden, I'm like, I need this weird card, and I really like this one. So it's been fun. It's fun.
It's super fun, and those like old NSYNC ones are pretty affordable because it was, from the time where they just printed a ton. The Bieber rookie or whatever that's with Drake, those popped for a while, but they're going to stay affordable because there's so many. They made these back in the time when they made tons of cards, and when Bieber was hot, sure they just printed a ton of them. So some of this stuff, even if it gets popular, I think it still stays pretty affordable, unless you're going for the rare refractor or auto or something. It's just cool to have your own copy of it. So that's cool. I do like to chase. I don't know about values again, but the rarity chase is fun. You can find something that just tough to come by. Maybe not because it's serial numbered, like the Tarantinos or something like that, but because it's old, and who kept that stuff around? Like in a way. And that it's rare because it pops up so rare, and you almost have to search for it in non-card searches. One of those things for me is that I'm a big, I like Dolly Parton. Think she's an icon. Been an icon almost my whole life.
A goddess.
Right? Since the 80s, and she still is. How she's got Dollywood. She's
She's a national.
Who's aunt, or she's someone's godmother. Miley Cyrus's godmother from when she was a little kid. So she's so relevant still today. And her rookie is from 1967. And it comes from a deck of cards. And it's a rare thing. Sometimes you do get these oddball things in non-sport where a card deck can be a rookie. And the only reason it can is because every single card in this deck is a different country music star. So they're not repeating at all. Yeah, they're all individual cards, and were kind of made that way to be collectible. But these just don't pop up. And I have to search for the deck, and they often show up in the antique section instead of the card section on eBay. And, I grab them anytime I can because I'm like, there aren't that many of these around. It's cool just to have one, even if you never grade it.
I'm going to tell you right now, when you were like, oh, the top person, mine would be Dolly Parton or Marilyn Monroe. And I did not even know about that card until you just showed it to me. And now I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to have to put an alert for that because I have to go find one now.
Yeah, the set is the 1967 Heather card set. So that it's Heather. It's named after I don't know if there's a picture of her. Right on the front of the deck is a picture of the guy who made the set. It's his daughter. And so it's the Heather set. It's just neat. It has a whole bunch of people in there, like Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash. It's not Johnny Cash's rookie. I think Cash's rookie comes from the same set as the Ray Charles rookie. I don't have a Cash, but I have a Ray Charles. It's this oversized card from I think 1957. I don't collect a lot of the older stuff, but Ray Charles is pretty iconic, so that was cool.
Wow, this illuminating. This was so cool.
Another one I've rare that I picked up is my friend Travis again. He recommended picking up a box of these motto cards because it's just full of celebrity playing cards with their name on the back and their numbers. They're really a lot like a trading card, and PSA grades them, and I graded the first two ever Hugh Hefners. Let's talk about another person that's big in culture, but that set is really like those boxes there. It's just a game. It's a board game, and the boxes now sell for $800-900. Legit things have sold for that, and I'm glad I got 2 boxes of it when they're only $40-50 because it has Cosell's first card.
Wow.
Warhol's first card. As far as I know, and again, I say these things, keep in mind, as far as I know, right. I can't find earlier ones because you never know. And then Stephen King, Johnny Carson, and then the founder of McDonald's. One of the creepiest cards I've ever seen is Ray Kroc, just looking really weird.
Would not babysit for me.
So my mom met the original Ronald McDonald back when he used to go around to schools and do
they had birthday parties.
Yeah.
Even.
So he would go to the school and do a performance, and my mom was not for this. She was not into it. She did not like Ronald McDonald. She's gonna kill me that I'm telling this story live. Whatever, I'm gonna tell it anyways. So Ronald McDonald comes up to her and he's like, "Oh, little girl, blah blah blah," talking to her, and she's just not having any of it. And he's like, "Whisper in my ear, who's your crush?" And she's like, "No." He's like, "No, you have to tell me." And she was a little freaked out. So she whispered in his ear who her crush was, and then he announced it to the entire Auditorium.
Was it Hamburglar?
It was not Hamburglar. It was Grimace.
Grimace, there you go.
That was like doubly scarring, right? Not only is it Ronald McDonald the creepiest clown.
He just hates Ronald McDonald. Hates him. Like if you see Ronald, it's just like, we're Ronald McDonald. Like, what is that?
Hey, I picked up some cards that you guys had picked up. I think around the same time. We had the same idea. Can I show some sports cards? Is that okay?
Let's see it.
It's off of the main sports, kind of. It's kind of becoming main at this point. But soccer cards. Malik Tillman just joined the USA team.
Yes.
So I picked up a couple of his golds and then a numbered of 99 finest rookie. But these are you never know. This is a total shot. How often do you get to get in on someone so early? And have no idea. I'm taking a 1 in 100 shot that he becomes a decent player. But he's on Team USA. People are excited about him. I never got in like early on a sports prospect, really. That's one thing I've never really chased that much, and gone after really good cards. So I'm like, why don't I grab a couple golds and a nice finest and spent under $500 and take that shot. And then now I get to cheer for somebody on USA Soccer, a sport that I don't follow quite as much, but I'd like to.
You don't have to be all that great if you're an American player. It's like because the American nationalism, patriotism is so strong that as long as you are a professional and you're over there, people love you. They love you.
Yeah, he's German. I was in Cincinnati last week for the USA game, and the buzz when he came on the field, and we were midfield, like 5 rows back. The buzz, like, hey, he's like 17, 18. He's German. And, because they don't watch soccer like that, but they're like,
his dad was a serviceman, right? So he still has that patriotic American connection too.
But you just hear right away that he's young, he's German, and he's playing over in Europe, so he's going to be the next great thing. And so we were a little early on that, so we're excited about that. But those are beautiful cards. Now, with all the digging that you're doing, looking for 1942 playing cards, looking for the Marilyn Monroe card. What other sports cards do you collect, if any? And are your kids still involved with, they got you into the Pokemon. Are they still involved, or did they just leave Dad with all the cards?
Dad's got a good pile of cards going. I think I've outsized my kids at this point for sure when it comes to that. But no, my 10-year-old and I, we're actually having more fun than ever right now because there are cards on the shelves again. When you go to Walmart, we picked up some WD Prism, some UEFA, soccer, basketball, just whatever we can find on the shelf, Chronicles, all that kind of stuff. Just because it's fun to rip packs with your kids, and find out if people. And the biggest cards in the world, they don't have to be to him refractors and numbered and everything. They're just sweet if they're the players he loves. It's LeBron, it's Curry. We got a Gable Stevenson out of our Prism pack, which he's a WWE rookie this year. And he's from the University of Minnesota and just won a gold medal for USA in the Olympics last year. So there's just a lot, he's kind of a hero around here, and that was cool. And he's got that one propped up in his room right now. So we're still doing fun stuff. He's a little less into the Pokemon now that he's getting older, but we still love sports and watching and collecting together on that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking for neater cards. I think probably for me, it's going to be focusing on trying to throw darts at good prospects and better higher end cards, like really trying to focus in on, since I collect all kinds of weird stuff and all these crazy first cards in non-sport that are anywhere from $2 to $20 a piece. They don't cost much. I'm trying to look for the more unique, classic, iconic cards out there. So we'll see what I pick up. This is one of my favorite sports cards that not a lot of people are aware of. Kind of still vibe with off the beaten path. But I love the Noir set, how they pair the lefts and the rights together. So it's a Luca rookie where you can buy the right and the left. And this one isn't serial number match. It's like a 7 of 25 and a 12 of 25. But I try to get on other ones I have, I have a Giannis where I have the left and the right and they have the same serial number on both sides. It's some goofy, chase that doesn't, again, I don't think these cards are worth a whole lot, but I just think it's neat. And I like to put them up and display them side by side like that.
That is super cool. I'm sorry, I haven't seen those before, so that was cool for me. I never saw.
Yeah, I think to me they're the coolest base sports card outside of the ones from the 60s and 70s and 80s where it was the only card. The only card was a base. But I love the Noirs where the left and the right are the bases are all numbered and you can try to pair them up. It's just fun.
That's so cool.
I think one thing that's awesome is for us, and I'm sure you can relate, is we have 4 children, 15, 14, 5, and 3. And cards are truly one thing where we can all be in the same room, have fun, all maybe participate in a slightly different way, but nobody gets on each other's nerves. Everybody's genuinely excited to see whether it's Kaya opening a Pokemon and getting a Pikachu or...
She loves Pikachu.
She loves Pikachu.
Oh my God, she gets so excited.
Who doesn't love Pikachu?
She loves, well, right. But she knows that I like Eevee, so when she pulls an Eevee, she's like, here, Mom, here's Eevee, because I think it's cute. I'm not a big... But I have to tell you, it's so funny because none of us are into Marvel at all. None of us. But Kaya, who is our 5-year-old daughter, has gotten so into Marvel that I am now buying Marvel cards for her to open so she can find Spider-Man, because she she had a Spider-Man birthday. We opened Spider-Man cards. We opened Pokemon cards.
She walks around going like this. Come here, Daddy.
Come here. She'll jump on the couch and she's like, I'm Spider-Man. Like, she's stuck to the... It's so, and I actually sort of blame, if Spring Sports Card is still in here, I blame him because he sent her a bunch of Marvel cards and like a cool like hollow Spider-Man one that she literally carries it around the house with her wherever she goes. And I think
respect to him. That's cool. The inspiration. I'm not going to blame him. I'm going to say kudos to you, man. Love to see people inspire people.
A new obsession.
Yeah, I know. Someone's got to say it. No, like collecting. My 25-year-old, zero interest in cards. We never really did it together. He did Pogs, I think, for a while in the early 2000s. But he loves, again, like F1. So we picked up a few F1 cards, and I picked up some NASCAR cards just for him, and knowing that, Jesus, how big of a NASCAR fan I am. Bubba Wallace Jr. was that he was driving for Michael Jordan's team. I thought that was sweet, driving the number 23 car, and so I said, you know what? I'm going to get into Bubba Wallace a little bit and follow him, and picked up some of his early cards. And it's just, again, cheap, buying RPAs, buying first-year autos and stuff for $10, $20. It's just, it makes it fun when you can afford to invest in a lot of different things and things that connect you with other people, whether it's a pack of cards looking for a Spider-Man or, some NASCAR cards to get into a player to follow.
I know for us, we're pretty diverse in what we collect, at least within the sports world. And I like it because it's always fresh. There's always something going on. You don't have to wait for a lull in the off season. There's always something new to learn. And so for me, over the last year and a half, like the education portion of the hobby has actually become my favorite part, more so than the cards, understanding the way the market works, what's hot, why it's hot, what makes a card relevant. And I'm thinking like that keeps me busy. I couldn't even imagine doing all the additional stuff with all the Pokemon and all the other stuff. So it's got to be a cool thing. So man. It's got to be
three things. I want to mention, someone asked what set that was earlier. That was the Noir set. The Noir, certain years have the left and the right pairs and some years don't, but like Luca's and Trey's rookie year did. Adam, the Real 27 guy's here. What's up, Adam? I just want to congratulate him on the new job. He's joined
Congratulations.
It's super cool, and excited to see what he brings to that. I think he's going to bring as much to them as he'll get from them, because he's a great dude in the hobby. And then, third is like that's totally right, man. It's fun to collect a lot of different things and to explore different things in this hobby. It's not just like you said, like learning about the markets. You can do that. You can like just experiment with different ways to do things. Like, have you ever cracked a slab and tried to resubmit it to another grader? I haven't done it yet. It's something I'd like to do. It sounds like a fun project, So I should pick one of my BGS, or not even BGS, but like just a random slab in some weird set that or some slab I bought from the local LCS, and crack one and resubmit just for the experience.
Yeah, it's terrifying, but also very fun. It's like exhilarating. It's like a roller coaster.
We did that as an experiment. We bought like BGS slabs, SGC slabs, and a couple of those off-brand slabs. Cracked them all, recorded them, and then sent them all to PSA and showed our results. So it was kind of fun. It was like a fun time.
That's cool.
Too.
Yeah, it was exciting.
Document.
What do you? So being that you kind of have both, I was gonna say a foot in each, but you sort of like have both feet in all of the hobby. What do you think is the main difference between someone that solely collects sports cards, like the big four sports cards, and someone that solely collects like anything outside of that? What do you think is like what draws people to each thing? What do you think if you had to like pinpoint it?
That's such a tough question. I mean, I feel like the non-sport collectors aren't just born out of nothing. They don't just come into the hobby. Very rarely. Maybe there's a couple who came in through comic books or we're a friend of a friend that their friend collected sports cards, and maybe they learned that there were Justin Bieber cards or something and started collecting those. But I really feel like almost all the non-sport people that I know started collecting sports cards first, or did it as a kid, and then were looking for a way back in, maybe saw things overpriced and decided to just like chase something different. So I think there are a lot of people that came in through sports. So usually we all kind of have that funnel in through athletes that we love, nostalgia for people. For me, sports again is more about history and the chase and the research and all that kind of stuff, and the connections, of course, the hobby is. But yeah, I think it's you start there, but then your mind kind of expands to other things. So like, who is that person? It might be the person who just generally likes to explore, different things. I do think I see that non-sport people are often interested in a lot of collectibles, not just trading cards, where you see them get into different ZAG comic books or video games or whatever. And there are the pumper people who are always chasing the next thing, and maybe some of those people are in non-sport right now. But because I have had a few people reach out to me that seem they're only interested in investments. I'm like, I have no idea, man. I just kind of buy the stuff. I think it's cool, and I just hold it, or give it out to friends and stuff too, right? Like if I buy a bunch of them. And so I don't know, but I know that there's a lot of the pumpy people that get in and then they chase the next thing. But I'm saying like people generally like seem to like other collectibles. Like, one of the things I started collecting along those lines was I haven't bought or sold any NFTs. I actually made an NFT, but I never have like bought or traded or sold them. But I did, seeing how Beeple was blowing up, I kind of liked his art. The NFT side of it was like, he makes some pretty cool visual design stuff actually. And so I went to chase and find what he has for physical art. And it turns out he designed like a bunch of albums. And I don't really collect vinyl or anything, but I love this like photo or this display vinyl album that he made for the 90s band Zao. Yeah, Zao or Zao. And so it's, and plus on top of it, it's a Macintosh, it's tech related. Like I just thought that was sweet, and it's limited number to 600. And then there's also like not a VHS, but a NES cartridge that they made for this album too, numbered only out of 100. That has the same artwork made by Beeple, and it was all collaboration with Beeple. So it's like legit, but it's before he got famous. So
wow.
There's stuff out there like that that's just like fun to chase down. And so I ended up collecting the whole set. It's a NES cartridge. There's like a cassette tape, and then there's a CD, like a CD for a CD player, but it looks like a floppy drive. And so it's a sweet combination, a sweet set. And it's like I don't have a lot of stuff I think it's like museum worthy, but I could actually see like this collection, being something that would be propped up in a museum someday. So it's like, that's kind of fun, or not, I just think it's neat. And it's in my own little personal museum down here in the Yam basement.
It was so cool. They had at the Flint Institute of Art for a while, they had a whole, not Flint, the Detroit.
The DIA.
The DIA, I don't know what I said, because I just went to the FIA with the girls. The Detroit Institute of Art had an entire wing dedicated to sports cards.
Cool.
In the museum. I thought that was one of the coolest things that I had taken the kids to, because they art museums can be kind of boring for kids, but my son was just like, oh, it's like rooms of like old like sports cards, things that were like some of them priceless. It was really cool to see it like displayed as art. And I think sometimes people forget that whether or not you look at it like that, a lot of this is art. It's art. So it's cool that you have that whole set, and it sort of touches on every little bit of things that you're interested in, and yeah. It's awesome. I think it's very cool. And I was thinking about what you said. It
was a fun chase on top of it. It was like fun to research, find out all the details about this album, and also to go and try to chase down these pieces, because a couple of them weren't very easy. So it's like it did have a lot of the components that I love about the hobby, and on top of it, I now have a couple other friends looking for it, and so we're helping each other, and so you get that community aspect too.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's like there's something like that's the best part. I feel like within the entire hobby is there's literally something for everyone. Like if you have to like actively not want to be able to find something to collect within sports cards and trading cards to be like, oh, there's nothing for me. My mom, I actually, Jeremy doesn't know this, but I bought some Bravo Housewives cards for her because she loves that show. When we went to Vegas, we took her to Vanderpump's, and Jeremy bought her like the menu, and stuff. So she's into that. And it's like, this is what we love. And so now I have the way to share stuff that I love with people, outside of sports and outside of, you know, the hobby in that way, where I can buy my mom Bravo sports cards. I can buy my dad golf, you know, golf cards. It's something where you can bring more people in, and it doesn't have to be, you know, football or basketball or baseball cards.
You look like you have some other stuff to show off.
Yeah, let's see.
Well, I was just thinking, you guys had mentioned, like, you didn't give me a lot of info, but as far as things to talk about, one of them was that we might talk about just some of the craziest cards, things I'd seen on cardboard or whatever, non-sport. And so I broke out a few fun ones. One you just reminded me of, because there was I can't remember his name, Michael something. He's a virologist. My wife is in healthcare, and one of the only cards that she likes in the world. I don't have it with me. This made me think of it because your mom, but and my wife and everything. But she, you know, liking weird cards, but she has this virologist card that she thinks is cool, that came out of this like presidential decision 2020 set that I'd only bought because I wanted the Bezos that was in there. So it's this COVID-19 subset within the, like, you know, race 2020 set. And I bought it, you know, again, because I knew there's a Bezos. And I had this because I think it's one of the craziest cards. I like chasing all of those tech giants and everything, and the billionaire cards and stuff. And it's funny to me that, like, is this a Bezos card? I don't really know. Like, it's a Chris Liddell card technically, but it's the first trading card that Bezos has ever appeared on, to my knowledge. And so it's just funny to me that he's on a card where he's just sort of on a panel, and he hasn't really been in a trading card otherwise. So that one made me laugh. But this is a set that was so crazy, but also, like, maybe the most nostalgic pack that I ever opened up, because I'd forgotten even how much I loved this show, and it was in living color from the early 90s. I
loved In Living Color.
Oh, such a good pack. You got to look for these packs. They're like classic wax.
The song in my head.
Right, totally. So there's classic, like, real wax packs, and they're just a blast to open, because I forgot about all these old characters that were on there. But there's some rookie cards in here that are really neat. Jim Carrey as James when he's Fire Marshal Bill.
Oh my god!
And so he's all, like, scarred and everything. So these are crazy, but I was almost tearing up opening these cards because I remember all this. And Jamie Foxx as this is his only card in the set, but he played bit parts on the show too. So his rookie is technically that one in the dress. And then the Jlo Rookie is from the set.
Yes.
So she's Jenny on the block.
Yes.
She's in a couple different cards in here, but you can kind of see her the second one in there. So the Jlo Rookie is in there. So that was a blast, and it's sort of crazy, but it was great opening them. And there's these 1940 Castell cards for the Wizard of Oz. So is that like the Wicked Witch's rookie? You can kind of see her creeping in the background there. And so that whole 1940 Castell Wizard of Oz is cool. But this one to me is like just made me laugh. So, and you guys probably don't even remember this, but when I was a kid, there was a big story about a baby Jessica that got stuck in the.
I remember that baby Jessica.
Yeah, and I didn't know this was in there. I opened some of these cards live, and I opened this pack, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? There's a baby Jessica card. There's a card for everything."
Oh my god!
So it's kind of sad. I know she turned out fine, but it's the picture is crazy.
She's the same age as me.
Really?
That was how old I was when it happened. I was
24.
Yes, she's 24.
Yeah.
So
I love this one from late 70s. I think this is maybe 79. And it's a card, it's probably backwards, but it says Mo Tormouth, Motormouth, he's the DJ, get it?
Yeah.
But it's actually, it's Howard.
Oh shit, it is.
Yep.
Oh my god.
So I don't know if there's a rookie because it's technically a parody or whatever, but it's still pretty cool to have an early 70s card when he hardly has any other cards.
That's great.
I just thought that one was pretty sweet. And this is sweet because it's all community based. Like, you start to get known for something and people recommend cards to you all the time. And that's the nice thing for exploring new avenues. I'm not into all of them, but every once in a while people are like, hey, have you seen this? And so this comes out of a magazine from the late 70s called Dynamite Magazine. And it's, just like has the Bee Gees and the Beatles on the front, but inside are these pull-out cards, and one of them is Howard Stern.
That is
so pretty fun.
I'm going to make it my life's mission to find something before you. I don't know what the hell it is, but I'm going to find something before you, man.
We have packs of Fresh Prince cards downstairs. So do you have,
cool.
do you have Fresh Prince? Because I think we have his rookie.
No, if you can find this one, you'll find it before me. And I'm showing it. It's just a pack. So there's the Pete Davidson rookie. Evidently came out of the Suicide Squad set. And this set was only offered if you bought a certain kind of hair dye. So people went crazy trying to scoop up all the hair dyes on the market to open all of these packs.
That's brilliant.
To find the Davidson inside. It's like some kind of, he's some superhero. I don't even know his name, but I did not get his character. I got, a couple other the characters. I'm not even sure who they are, but got a couple different cards in there. Got a shark. No Pete Davidson. So I'm still looking for that one. You can beat me to it.
The ladies love Pete. They love him. He's adorable.
I heard he was looking for cards the other day too. That he was at a trading card show, trading card shop, the one in big one in Los Angeles.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm down. The more celebrities in, it's good for me. I like it. I like the attention. I like people wanting to, collecting cards when I was a kid was not cool. It wasn't cool. I had Garbage Pail Kids cards and, wrestling. My mom was super into wrestling. I'll talk about that, and some old basketball cards. And it wasn't, well, especially I was a girl and my friends did not collect cards and they thought that I was weird for doing that, but it wasn't
I think the mistake.
It's cool to collect cards. It's cool.
Yeah, there's the cool factor. I think the mistake is to be like, Drake's in the hobby. This is going to blow up cards. And it's probably going to blow up the triple Logoman, but even though it's authentic, unfortunately. But anyway, the Drake being in the hobby, it's not necessarily about right now. It's about 20 years from now. You want these things to be seen as cool by the generation today, and maybe Drake's not even the person for that anymore. But whoever it is that's collecting cards, for kids to want to be in the hobby, teenagers think that this is something they might come back to someday. These are some of the memories that'll cement them when they discover cards again with their kids, to be like, hey, remember when this was really cool? And then it can be, it can revive again in a couple, a decade. Every generation can keep it coming back if they always felt some kind of positivity and buzz around it when they were developing and stuff. So
that is why I tell people to stop being so negative all the time, because we want the kids to see that collecting cards is fun and cool, because otherwise the next generation is going to be like, well, everybody's hateful and the cards, that's not fun. Let's make it fun. It's fun.
I swear to God, the cool factor with Pokemon cards is such a huge part of it, because I think the biggest part was the nostalgia, that all these kids did grow up with it, but they kept it inside. I collected Pokemon cards. It was not the coolest thing to admit.
Right.
And I wasn't that age, but you can see it with those who did, and they're like, "What? I can show off a Bulbasaur card? This is a jam. This is sweet." They're feeling like they're living their childhood again. Really, is what happens, and they feel like they can do it because it starts to have a buzz and a cool factor, and that allowed people to have fun, reconnect, and regardless of the values, popping and everything. Is that such a bad thing that people are having fun with their cards? I think it's awesome.
It's good. It's good. And here's the thing. I would rather my kids be at the card show collecting cards than doing half the other things that kids can do these days. Go to the card show, sure, whatever you want to do. We joke because we do that scavenger hunt at the Shipshawana show, and they're like, oh, how old? Is there a cutoff? Is it 12? I'm like, no. I
want them to come back to it someday. I want them to reconnect with their kids with, I'm reconnecting with my son, Max, putting up cards right now. I'm just giving him a hard time. He's a very successful, he's now a man, but man, he was a incredible collector as a kid, and now he's collecting great cards and NFTs side by side. He's a killer.
Yeah, he's pretty local to us. He's probably an hour from us. He's out in pretty damn close.
Yeah.
What up, Max?
We run into him from time to time.
He's a great dude, great guy.
Yeah. For sure. Look, we've gone way longer than we expected. I think that's a testament to who you are and what you had to talk about. I'm sure that we only scratched the surface of everything that's going on. I was actually really quiet because I was just taking it all in and just thinking about different ways that we can participate in the hobby, maybe some alternative things instead of buying a $2,000 box. With the kids, maybe go find some lesser stuff where we'll have more stories to tell about maybe our childhood. Our kids love, stories about when we were kids and some of the stuff we did. And, those cards, once again, could be the vehicle to talk about those things. But we really appreciate your time, and just keep doing what you're doing, man. Your collection's incredible, and it's a blast to watch.
It is. It's so much fun. And I was less quiet because I got too excited by a lot of the stuff you were sharing.
A couple things. I just want to say it's blessed to be in the hobby with you guys, because for me, it's just, this is for fun and it's about the community, and you guys are great community members and continue to create content, and bring your family literally to the table here. And I love that, you guys, and the chat has been great. Some great people in here today. Nice to hang out with everybody. and just laughs when it comes to stories. I know my kid's favorite stories to tell is when Dad got in trouble as a little kid.
Why do you like those stories so much? When did you do something wrong? Tell what happened. Did you get?
Oh my gosh.
They love it.
Well, one time I got caught at the neighbor's house. I wanted to see if the dog would really spin if I put it in the toilet and flushed it. And, that was not very bright. So I got in trouble. And like, I don't know, Snoopy seemed to be having fun.
He liked it, I swear.
He kind of thought it was cool. He always liked to hang out with me or whatever. But like, hey, come in here, bud. We're going to flush it and see if you go around in circles. They're like, no, you got to go to your room now. And they're probably like secretly laughing inside. Like, I can't believe he did that. But that was one time that Dad got in trouble.
Why do kids have such an obsession with Kaya flushed one of Amelia's necklaces down the toilet? She's so mad.
I didn't want him to go down the toilet. I'm just going to say that. No dogs down the toilet. But you got to see if they'll do the spinaroo, and they do not. They're heavy enough to endure the
it was that moment where your parents like, is he brilliant or is he completely shocked?
Something's wrong.
Yeah, something's wrong.
Either way, it's it's not going to be good. No, yeah. So, anyways, this has been a blast, you guys. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of people that are watching the basketball game tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for the Crazy 8 offer. That's so cool. I'm stoked about that. That's the sweetest and neatest thing, you guys. Thanks. It's been fun being on, you guys. It's an honor. So,
have a great night,
everybody. Take care. All right. See you guys.
Bye.